Okay, this is the last part of this YouTube video. These two pictures side by side, this one here is of Tad Cummins, who was arrested for abducting Elizabeth Thomas, and this picture here is of the suspect that was taken, that had his picture taken by one of his victims, believe it or not, before she died, with her cell phone. When I first saw this one, I immediately remembered this picture here, so I put them up side by side so that you can see that also. Now, you might not think there's too much similar with these two, but if I go on to some more pictures here. Okay, there we go. This picture right here was taken of Mr. Cummins in a store security camera. Now, I'm not sure whether this was taken during his abduction of Elizabeth Thomas or not, but you can notice he's a little heavy there. And if you'll also notice, he's wearing this jacket here that's similar to the one that he's wearing in this picture here. And you'll also notice right here he's got a shirt on underneath that jacket, and it looks like, if you see the dark here, the dark here, the dark here, and then the lighter color on both sides, that's a shirt that has a large series of squares in it, similar a shirt that may be worn by a hunter or something like that. If you go, these two pictures down here, this one, actually three, were taken by Liberty German by her cell phone before she died. And you can see that the man is walking along the railroad tracks on the trestle, which is where their bodies were found. And he's wearing a jacket that's similar to the one that's he wearing here. This one looks darker, but you can't really go by that because the shade of coloring on security cameras and cell phones is dependent on the amount of light that they're getting. So if you notice here, he's wearing a hat. Now this is the hat that he's wearing in this photo here, this green hat that's enlarged in this picture. It's a hunter's type hat, and it has a square here that has something on it. It's a patch, I think. When I looked at it close, I thought it might be a patch of an American flag, but it's just not clear enough to see what it is. But what's most important is that it is there, and this hat also has some white along the outside edge of the brim. If you look at this picture, he's wearing a hat similar. And it's not in this picture here yet, but I will later on show you that you can barely see the square right here on his hat, and you can see the white along the brim. And real important is this area here that's sticking out of the bottom of his coat, and here it's has a checkered pattern similar to this shirt here. And so that's incredible to me. It's incredible to see somebody wearing the same clothes, possibly in two different abductions. This abduction was made in February of this year. Actually, the murder was made in February of this year, and this abduction here was made in March, almost to the day 1 month later. And this is a picture of Elizabeth Thomas, who was survived her abduction, wearing the same shirt that Tad Cummins was wearing. You can see it's too big for her, and she's coming out of a store or something. So I believe this is the same shirt that you see Tad Cummins wearing underneath the jacket when he's photographed with Elizabeth Thomas, and I believe it's also similar to the colored shirt that's showing in the suspect's underneath the suspect's jacket in the murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Okay, now if you look close, this is a photograph, a close-up of the suspect in the murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Of course, you know when you work with photos, the more you bring them in close-up, the blurrier they get. But you can see what appears to be an outline of a patch on this hat. You can't really see the camouflage green and the different shapes and everything that's on the hat in the other pictures, but I believe that they're there. And you can also see a little white here on the brim, which is similar to the hat he was wearing in the other pictures. Also interesting here, it looks like this man has a goatee, doesn't it? It's a little darker at the top and a little whiter on the bottom. And look at his demeanor. He's walking, shuffling along, so to speak, kind of hunched over. His head is slightly down. Okay, here's a blow-up of the lower portion of the suspect's body walking along the bridge. Notice the shoes here. You see the white? See the white on the shoes there? Okay, and the rest of the shoe is dark. Similar to this shoe, he's got a couple of white spots there, but the shoe is dark. And then there's that shirt. I think that's a shirt, and you can clearly see the checkering in this picture. And that's a spot that shows up a little bit more than the rest because of the lighting. If you notice, the sun is hitting him from this way. And so the shirt is going to be a little brighter in that area than it is in the areas that are covered where the jacket causes a shadow. And again, you see the way he's walking. This is indicative of the other photos that I saw with Mr. Cummins. Okay, again, here's Cummins walking along in the store, and this is the hat that I was mentioning before, and you can clearly see the patch, and there's the bottom part with his shoes. And last but not least, here's the suspect again, tripping along with his head down, hands in his pocket, little piece of his shirt hanging out here and hanging out here, head down again, like I said, jacket opened up down to here, just the way Cummins wore his jacket. I just think that there's too many similarities in these two pictures to be ignored. I believe that the law enforcement, whoever's handling this murder investigation, whether it be the FBI or local authorities, ought to get with Mr. Cummins and retrieve his clothing and compare DNA, because anybody, I mean, this is like a case handed over on a silver plate for DNA purposes, because this person we know is arrested in the abduction of Elizabeth Thomas, has Elizabeth Thomas's DNA on some of his clothing, as well as that of Abigail Williams or Liberty German. Then he's nailed. He's done. He's going to prison, and I hope they get rid of him. So I will post another video if anything more important comes along. So until then, this is it. I'm thinking that Ted's jacket, and this is a good picture of it, is one of those parkas that you can buy, the light parkas that they're called windjammers, and this is why he wears the shirt underneath it, is because it's a light jacket, and it's one of those kind of jackets that have the string along the bottom on the inside of the jacket sewn into the bottom of the jacket, that when you zip the jacket up, in Tad's case, it'll be up underneath his belly. He'll tighten up that string to hold it there. And so the jacket in some of the other photos that are presented here in this video appear to be shorter than this one, but really this is probably the same type of jacket. It gets pulled in tight to the bottom, and you pull the hood up over your head, and it keeps mostly the wind and rain out. And so hence the necessity of wearing something underneath it. Now I'm going to play the video of that came off of little Liberty German's cell phone of this of a voice. It's unclear whether that voice is the one of the man in the picture or where it came from, but it's the only evidence they have, so I'll play it. It could very well be a voice that matches Ted's voice too. Who knows?
Down left, down left, down left, down left.